What up, dogs? I'm Welcome back to another GGE Games, Goals, and Expectations video. Now, I usually upload these on Mondays, but fortunately I've been a little busy with stuff, so this is going to come out like tomorrow or something. Alright, so the next weapon that we are going to be talking about is going to be the Gust. Gust. It's a light shotgun. Looks pretty cool overall. Uh, but today's game, Gus is. I wouldn't say that it's anything to write home about. Now I'm not saying that you necessarily want to get attacked by it. Obviously, like most weapons. But unless this thing is like Mark III and you got like four of them or six on them, I guess when the dag comes out, shooting in your back or whatever, they're not really that much of a threat anymore. Um, yeah, basically they call it a gust, and like they called it a gust, and now it basically is exactly what it feels like. It's just a gentle gust of wind, peppering you up real nicely, but not enough to actually deal a whole lot of damage. Now that being said, I of course will still eventually love to use them, but in another one thing that kind of is good, it a little irks me a little bit is if you'll notice, it costs 1,500 gold to use these things, or to buy one of these things. Now I already have a couple myself, and you can 1,500 gold may not sound like a whole lot for someone who's been playing the game for a while, but or it really depends on how humble you are, I guess. Anyway, but 1,500 gold to use a weapon that is not going to perform all that well, kind of sucks. Uh, like I said, there's certain situation, with any kind of weapon, there's always gonna be certain situations in which you can perform better. But in this particular case, I'm not sure that I would consider a gust something worth investing in if you expect it to be able to have, maximum, you know, capability in terms of, uh, you know, fighting. I don't know what word I was looking for, but I'm slow sometimes. Anyway, but without stop rambling about it, let's go ahead and just get on with talking about the robots that I'm going to be pretty much mostly the robots I'm going to be excited to use them on. All right. So, um, anyone who's already watched my channel already knows that for the longest time you've been using destroyers and whatnot. So, if you're going to use something like a gust, it doesn't hurt to put it on. Something like a destroyer is fairly weak anyway. But if you're going to be up in somebody's face, then it might not hurt to have a weapon that's going to be able to do at least a little bit of burst damage, or at least at first. So you know the destroyer is a tier 1 robot, and then the gust is a tier 2 weapon. So in terms of wherever in the game you are using destroyers, if you're still using them, or if you just want to use them for whatever reason, then using a weapon like a gust that is a tier 2 weapon is going to be a pretty big step up from using tier 1 weapons, at least. I'm not saying it's going to perform all that well, but it probably would be a decent brawler until you replace it with something else, like for instance maybe a spike, or a not a spike, a needle, or just something that's going to be able to pack a little bit more punch than the gust that has been nerfed to the point where it's not even funny anymore. But yeah, to me, I love shotguns in general. All the kinetic weapons are pretty much my favorite weapons anyway. So, um, I will be looking forward to running that, but I'm not saying that's going to do all that well. At least, even especially when I first start using it. Maybe when it's uberfied, supercharged or whatever, it might be pretty fun to run. But uh, I am not going to get my hopes up. Now, of course, what would be even better than that is the Gepard, for obvious reasons. One extra firing slot. It's much faster, more health. You actually have a active module, so it's gonna be that much better than using the Destroyer, like significantly better. What's next? What is this? Patton was a little bit questionable because it is a slow robot, and then Gust is something you do have to kind of get in close quarters with in order to use effectively. So I think if you were to try to maybe make that speedy, even though it is a very slow bot, if you're trying to make that speedy, or rather than make it speedy, make it tanky. One of the two of those things, probably what you're gonna want to recommend. I'd probably go tanky myself, just because to me tanks are some of the most fun games. Some of the most fun builds to play in the game is a tank that can take a lot of damage. That's pretty much. But in terms of this, the fact that 4 light slides is nothing to sneeze at, then yeah. Something I can imagine being useful would be something like like one of the drones that gives you like an absorber shield or something like that. That would be very, very, very useful. All right, what's next? Next is going to be the bolt. The bolt would be kind of the idea of what I would be trying to use for try to up the speed on a Patton, but a Patton's already so slow. So even if you were to take it to like the max, as fast as it could possibly be, it would definitely, it wouldn't even hold a candle to the fact that the bolt can, run around way faster and dash too. I think it'd be interesting to see. Now, I'm pretty sure a bolt would beat a Patton in a fight if they were both had the same setup, possibly. But it'd be interesting to see like a fight between a Gepard and a Bolt that had pretty much the same setup. Next is going to be, and like I said, sometimes I mention something that I'm excited for. Sometimes I mention something that I would actually think would be decent to working with. It just really, really depends sometimes. The next one I would think would work really well, or be at least pretty fun, especially for the purpose of maximizing your firepower, would be the Jesse. Simply because you have a very short burst clip with that little Gust shotgun. So you probably definitely want something like Jesse that has the quick draw ability, so that you can pop off your first shotguns and then switch to the next one. Next is going to be the Stalker. This is actually one that people have made use of quite a bit, simply because that stealth ability, significantly boosts the effectiveness of being able to use something like the Gust. Sorry. Huh? Am I still recording? Yes, I am. Oh my god, it was in such the weird spot that I could not tell that it was still recording. Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, the Stalker, because of the stealth, you're able to use something like the Gust more effectively, because you're able to like go in without being able to be shot, and then dig back behind your cover while you're waiting for your weapons and stuff to reload. All right, what is next? All right. Simply only this next one is simply only because another one of those ones I kind of only really mentioning because of if this had been back in the day, or if you want to use it on Sage retro tournaments and stuff like that. This has been back in the day when the game first came out. Then it would have been a beast of a build, because to be able to throw all shotguns on Natasha would have been awesome. So you would throw 2 Thunders on there, and then 2 Gusts. Now Thunders were there back in the game, back in the original. I don't know if they were like in the very first version of the game, but like they were the oldest weapons in the game, to the point where it's literally the first thing you see when you go to the store. It's a Thunder, and a lot of even the newer bots. That's like one of the first the weapons that still comes pre-installed on a robot. But yeah, that would have been a beast back in the day if Gusts had been in the game back in the day. All right. Next is going to be even for the same purpose, especially it's much for the same exact purpose. The Rhino. So so something like this, the Rhino would have been like amazing, because like back when years ago, when Rhino would have been the meta, of the game, then people, you know, the only way you could take this down is you had like hella rockets in order to take it down. So if you wanted to do that, uh, you did like if you didn't have rockets, then you'd be pretty boned. Depending on how long that took for it to get to you, I'm not saying that Gust would probably be um, ideal if you're trying to deal damage to someone while you're running, but if you're trying to get up in somebody's face, then once you get within like 500 meters, and then you can technically start hitting them at 500 meters, but it would probably be better if you were at like 300 meters or whatever, and then you started shooting them. So like within 250 meters, that's when the shotguns are going to start getting the more and more effective. Of course, at point blank range, they're the most effective. Um, so once you got within a certain amount of time, and then you could let down that front shield of yours, and then they would get hit by your storms, which would be painful. Now, not necessarily something that would perform well in today's game. I'm not really sure how well it would even perform on, like I said, retro tournament either. But it would still be an interesting build that I would love to run. I gotta clear my throat real quick. All right, and for the same purpose, Leo, that would just be back in the day, this is what's already on it, the pinatas. That would have been what you would have run as a heavy hitter Leo, back in the day. But if you had gusts back then those would have been even worse. Like because you already have the thunder that's just slamming that large freaking shell right into your face. So if you had like three little shotguns to also backed up, that this would have been brutal, like a man cannon, if you will. Let me see. What is next? All right. Another time, I'm actually quite surprised I put this on the list. I put the Alkin on the list for kind of an interesting reason, I guess. I um, I've read some of these lists I wrote a little while ago, so I may not necessarily remember everything about why I would have added something to the list, or why I would have been excited. But to me, you're able to fly with it. So I think the best situation in which you would be able to use this is if you were to drop on somebody, like so basically like maybe in Beacon Rush or whatever. Um, if you were to if someone is low on health or something like that, and then uh, you're in Beacon Rush and they're trying to grab your beacon, you could drop on it and then immediately shoot them in the face. If you could use phase shift, um, that'd probably help. I feel like phase shift could make the Alkene useful in a lot of senses. But now the combination of the fact that both the Alkene and the Gust cost a exorbitant amount of gold that they're not even worth is kind of sucky. But to each their own. It's like whatever you want to run is entirely up to you. Um, and whatnot. Now, of course, you wouldn't be entirely defenseless at range. You do have that built-in weapons that has 600 meters, I believe it is. It's either 600 or let me check. I don't think it even says, but I think it's 600. Oh yeah, built-in weapons range 600 meters. I don't think it's gonna really do all that much, so you probably wouldn't want to be in the air for very long. But um, I really want to sell this just because I did put it on the list. I I don't know. I feel like it would just like the way the Alkane probably handles. I feel like it would be set. It would definitely be set up to use something like shotguns, but I'm not sure necessarily about the Gust. It's simply because like maybe just to get you know accustomed to using shotguns on the Alkane, Gust might be a decent idea, but a better shotgun on it would probably be something that has a little bit more effectiveness at range, like the Cyphus or whatnot, or the new ones that come out, the Splinter. All right, Now, what is next? Next is going to be a classic, although the build, I wouldn't say the build itself is classic, but the Griffin. So, a Griffin is, one of the most, I would say one of the most versatile bots that's ever been in the game. And a shotgun built on this wouldn't actually be that old a thing. It wouldn't be super new either, but it wouldn't have, definitely been around in the beginnings of the game, back when it was still called walking robots. But it's a build that I can imagine would definitely have been very, very powerful back then. Simply because back when the Griffin was still meta, you probably use like death buttons or RDB or whatnot, in order to make it perform well. But I think the shotguns, if they had been part of the game back then, or at least those light and medium slots, because there were heavy shotguns, the Thunder, but they didn't have any others besides that. They would have been absolutely killer. And it's still fun to use these, a build like this now, but I wouldn't expect it to be super super powerful. It's like I usually say these with a lot of builds. Yeah, I do. I guess you could call it a warning, just to not get your hopes up. But like I said, the way I play this game, and the way I think a lot of other people should play this game instead of chasing the meta, is just to play what you feel is fun, and not worry about all these people that have the latest new and cool and stuff. But the reason why I think this would be so fun to run is just because of the handling of the shotguns. Now you definitely want to be cautious, which I think that's one of the cornerstones of a balanced bot, is that it's not going to perform well in every situation. You have to be able to use skill in order to use it, rather than some of the newer stuff that might come out that's just like absolutely broken when it first comes into the game, and even after it's been nerfed, it's still kind of crap. It's still kind of way too powerful. Of course, this is a tier 2 bot, and most of the time they're only ever coming out with tier 4 stuff anymore. It's been way too long since they came out with anything that wasn't tier 4, which is kind of broken if you ask me. Like, if you're going to have a tier system, you need to update all the other tiers, because what sense does it make to have 10 bots or something, I think, that are in, how many are there? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, exactly. Like 10 bots that are in tier 1, and not that many bots that are in tier 2, even fewer bots that are in tier 3, and then, all these other bots that are up in tier 4 for no reason. Like, there's more I'm pretty sure there's more bots in tier 4 than there is in the other 3 combined, which doesn't make sense in a practical standpoint. Like, if we're going to release new stuff, like, I think the last time they came out with a bot that didn't end up going into tier 4 was like the Bolt, because they kind of released, because it was like kind of like a community. I think it was part of the community project, yeah. And then the other one is the Cerberus. That was a community project too. And then when they released that, they were already, I think they already had the tier system in the game, but that's a tier 3 thing. It wasn't tier 4 when it came out. That's a tier 3 robot, I believe. Or is it? Let me go check, actually. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm just curious. Is it tier 3? It might be tier 4. It doesn't feel like a tier 4 robot, though. Where is it? Did I scroll past it and someone saw it? I don't know. Oh my god, the Dagon's already in. Oh yeah, the Dagon is absolutely already in the game. I completely forgot about that. Let me just ignore that. I must have scrolled past it. That's how I guess it's not a tier 4 robot. I was right. I'm sorry for going off on a tangent. This is probably annoying, but where is it? The Cerberus. There it is. It is a tier 3 robot. Alright. Back to what I was talking about. Oh, I wasn't actually that far off from it. I was stupid. Alright. But yeah, I was just talking about it. Let's get back to my point. Um, Next is going to be the Strider because of its dashing ability. So if you're with something like the shotgun, um, but something that can't move very fast, your first instinct is to shoot all your shots at one time. But with something like the Strider, you might be able to get away with shooting, only every once so often. So you could shoot all at once, but then you dash, and then while you're waiting for your shots to reload and whatnot. So that makes that pretty effective, or at least I would think it would be one of the most effective ways to shoot shotguns that aren't powerful. Next, Raven. I always mention the Raven every time. It's most of the time if I mention something like the Griffin, I'm gonna mention the Raven simply because it's always got the extra jump. And this one even more so because something like the Raven, you could like maneuver yourself so that you could make use of the fact that the shotguns don't have a great clip size. All right, and you got the Hellburner, pretty self-explanatory. You want to get up at close range and explode on people, so shotguns is always a good idea. Or I would think it was a good idea. You would make sure you have enough health. Next is going to be the... Where is it? The great one. Pursuer. Same reason for the Stalker, except, way better. Pretty sure that's one of the... people always used to make pretty fair use of this too back when Gust first came out. Now, of course, the Halos were a little bit more preferable because of lockdown, but Gust are also cool too. Now, what you could do, or I could see people doing, is you could actually have Gusts on this and then have that drone, that drone that provides you lockdown to all your ammo. That would be really good. All right, let me see. All right, next is going to be the Mercury. So, yeah, obviously you want to get close range. If you're dropping them somebody, Mercury would be really good because you can just while you're in midair, you can make sure that you are actually, popping off some shots to try to whittle them down until you land on them with that hell dive to go ahead and finish them off. Now you would definitely want them to be up close, so you would want to be cautious with how you use it, obviously. All right. Next is going to be the Mender. So yeah, you want to get up in somebody's face, and if you're healing, then that would be great. Probably make it tanky or whatnot in order to get the best use out of using a shotgun build like that. I'm sorry, sorry if it feels like I'm rushing through these, but some of these are ones I'm excited about. Some of these are just, maybe not so much. I mean, yeah, but I don't want to, go on forever because most people probably aren't really watching the majority of these videos anyway. And even if they are, they're not watching them all the way through. If you have watched any of these videos all the way through, let me know. I would really, really appreciate that. Even if it's only like one of you, that would be really, really cool. All right, next is going to be the Loki. So, for some reason, is using them on like the Pursuer or the Stalker. The Loki, way better because you're able to stay in stealth pretty much indefinitely until you actually want to attack. So, running up behind somebody or running up in somebody's gill, letting off some shots, and then really immediately dipping back in cover. Because you do have to recharge those shotguns. Then yeah, being able to reload back into cover is really, or reload back into stealth is really, really good. I also went ahead and said the tier. Same reason for kind of the same reason for the Loki, kind of like a cross between the Loki and the Doc / Jesse. So you have that you have that ability. You have the guns, the two light guns will deactivate. You can wait for them to kind of reload a little bit while you're healing and whatnot, and then immediately pull them right back out. Sorry, I'm really thirsty. All right. Next gonna be, all right, my favorite ones, or one of the gonna be the Invader. Now a weapon. The reason the Invader, although it's not the hottest shit in the game anymore, but it's definitely as a bot that offers a suppression type ability, then it definitely makes use of weapons that aren't that great in the game anymore. It makes them that much more effective because you're able to reduce the amount of damage. You're able to reduce the amount of damage that your enemy's able to deal to you anyway. And plus those having 3 shotguns shoot at you would not be very pleasant. And plus, if you have pretty sure, don't you have 3 mediums on a don't you have 3 mediums on an ultimate invader? That would be that much better. And then what could be even better than that is the blitz. You have 4 gusts, so you'd be able to have that much more gust power, I guess. And you're able to suppress them. Now I'm not sure in the game whether back when they first came out, the invader was supposed to be way better than the blitz, but I'm not really that sure, but I wonder if the blitz might actually be better than the invader now. Probably not, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably, yeah, like I said, probably not, but like, you get my point. In terms of making the Gust shine, it probably could be, but maybe not necessarily overall as a bot. Alright, next is going to be the Hades. Oh, wait, why? Did I put that on the list? Really? I put that. Well, I think it would just be really fun. I'm not sure it would be all that great. In terms of brawling, definitely. So if let's say you're within like 250 meters of somebody or 200 meters of somebody, that'd probably be really good. That'd be the best place to use it, because you'd be able to activate your retribution, and they wouldn't be able to get close enough to you before you started, unloading your shotguns on them, and then hit them with that. If they do happen to accidentally do any damage to your absorber shield, then you'll get extra damage output with that built-in cannon. Alright, next is going to be a great example of a bot used on it would be the Gust. The Scorpion is built to be an ambush bot, so it is designed to attack, shoot you in the back and then dip right back in the cover with its little teleport backstab ability. So something like the Gust that has a low clip size, it's designed to be, it's this almost like it's perfect setup to be able to do that, because you can just load your clip and then teleport right back as soon as you run out of ammo. Right, next is going to be one that I think would just be really fun and especially aesthetically pleasing, other than the fact they don't really match colors, but the Ares. I think in general, I think the Ares is a really cool bot, but same reason for using it on the Hades, just that much better, so much more firepower and just awesome in general. But yeah, that'd be really, really, really fun. At least I can imagine it. And the thing with that being is that you could actually, you could stay at a decent distance with this one a little bit easier, because you would be able to, hit, activate your absorber shield and hit them with those built-in weapons, even at 500 meters. And then if they start to close the distance, you have that much more firepower and effective. Like you get even more. You get, rather than something that gets less dangerous. I don't know why I was saying that. But basically, speaking, the closer you get to the thing, the more dangerous it is. But you are not safe from even at 500 meters. You are not safe from it either. So yeah, it would be something you definitely wouldn't want to get too close to if you didn't know what you were dealing with. All right, now next is going to be the I think the only reason I really put this on the list, the Hawk, is simply because I think it would be not. I just think it would be aesthetically, pleasing, because the Gust and the Thunder. That's what I think this would be really well. Now, because you do have so much another reason I think that it would be real, because you do have so much resistance on the Hawk, and then you have that built-in, Titan laser that would be really good. So if you were going to use this, that would definitely be it would definitely be something that I would try to use against a Titan more than anything else. Or at least it really depends on the Titans. Like something like a kid, or something that didn't have a lot of resistance or any sort of way to resist. Yeah, or something that like did have, most of the robots have a defense ability. Something like the Sirius does not. Something like let's say a Muramatch does not, even unless it's in his stealth. But even then, you could probably have quantum radar. So, yeah. So what's next? Next is going to be another good teleporting bot. It's going to be the Phantom. So you could maneuver your way to try to get close to somebody, run up on them and deal them some shotgun shell. Them unload your shotguns into their bot, and then really dip behind cover for some tactical advantage, and just be really, really, really fun. Yeah. All right, next is going to be, only because it is kind of a tanky little bot that you have to be able to deal with, is going to be the shell. So, that was any robot that has high defense or is able to survive long time without being taken down is definitely going to be the best use of shotguns. And plus, how cool would it be able to say that you used a shotgun shell? Like, that's just, it's like the joke is right there. Shotgun shell. That'd be awesome. All right, next is going to be the Kefri. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow this time. It's just, you know, I'm actually in a new spot. I'm actually in a new location, so kind of got to get used to being in this new environment. So the Kefri, like I said, tanky robots, best thing for shotguns. Best thing for shotguns is always going to be something that's tanky. So, if you're able to, with the Kepri, if you're trying to run gusts or something, I think it would be really good because you could, like I said, you make it tanky as possible. Run into somebody, do some shots, and if you want to, it's fairly fast robot too. So you would be able to dip back behind cover while possibly while you're recharging your shots for maximum capability. And then what is next? I think one that would be, I did put it on the list. I didn't necessarily mark something that was also that special, but I did put the Revenant on the list, simply because I think that if you used it wisely, it'd be really, really good and really fun. It also looks really cool already to have the shotgun on there. It doesn't have the Gust on there, but I just think it would fit in right. And then you know strategically you probably want to do something like I said with a couple other builds, where you want to go ahead and leave go after people that are already low on health. You don't want to run in on somebody that is going to take a while to take down, or it's like the first enemy on the battlefield or whatever. You want to scope out the battlefield and see like who you could possibly challenge. Now Revenant is supposed to be really, really tanky, but nowadays people don't invest it anymore, so that's probably why most of the time you won't see it being used, and even if it is, it's not going to be good. Where did I put next? Next, okay, obviously I'm gonna put the Skyros. Shotgun ball, awesome. Shotgun ball. This is gonna be really cool. Skyros is definitely Skyros is always gonna benefit from a sort of I was about to say run and gun, but basically a drive, like a little drive-by play style. So run and gun, or gun and run, however you want to say. Anyway, basically, you pull up on somebody and immediately unload all your ammo into them, and then duck right back out. Roll right back out. Um, you know, so best play style it can be used for. And why not use a weapon that does in fact lose DPS over time after that clip is unloaded. What's next? All right, next is going to be Angler. Actually, I haven't talked about Angler quite a bit, only because um, I don't really like the setup of the robot. It's kind of weird. It's definitely annoying when someone has to get on you. But with the Angler, I think it would work really, really well. Because you are actually blinding somebody. And that's why it's, with the robot like that, you probably definitely want something that's going to have burst damage, or at least have, damage that's you're doing to somebody, without them being able to fight back. Uh, them not being able to fight back is kind of crucial to being able to use a build like this. So, probably what you want to do is, if you would probably approach somebody, you might let uh, some shots off into them, uh, into their bot first, and then once you do, and hopefully they have like rockets or something that can penetrate your physical shield. But you would, you know, while you're, uh, you would then go into your ability, of course, the electric shift, to recharge your shots, and then you would end up blinding them. And once they come out of your ability, they can't attack you, but you can load your shotguns into them again. So that is why would be a great tactic. I think that's how most people probably use the Angler anyway, um, somewhat, but that would just be definitely a good shotgun tactic to use. And there's only a couple more that I'm going to mention. All right, the Nether, obviously, for much of the same reasons I mentioned any other dash bot, um, and why I usually mention the Nether anyway. So you have a little burst with uh, the gusts, and then immediately while you're recharging, you can keep dashing so you don't get hit. And then once you have your ammo again, attack, and then dash and attack, and it would just be really, really the most useful way of using gusts I can think of. One of them. And then the next is going to be, hold on. This is actually mentioned. I'm gonna go ahead and put another one on the list real quick, just because it is now in the game. No, I didn't want to mention it, but okay. I went ahead and wrote down Dagon, simply because, if you're able to use its ability. I did play it on the 5 server. It is a pretty fun bot. Hopefully it doesn't become too OP. It's probably available that it's going to, but uh, I wouldn't say that this is too OP yet, because if you don't know what you're doing, it can definitely be taken down very, very easily. Um, so this may not end up being as powerful as we think it's going to be. Now, being shot with 6 weapons is kind of a nuisance. Um, but so basically, I think you could probably make this a little pretty tanky if you wanted to. That's how you're pretty much supposed to use it, I believe. So if you're going to do that, then getting shot by like 4 gusts may not even be that big a deal now anymore. But getting shot by 6 of them, especially if they're maxed out, that would hurt. So Dagon would be really, really, really fun to use gusts on, or at least that's one of the things I would be um, excited to use. Now they kind of tell you that you're supposed to, what the heck? Oh, my upgrade's done. All right, I'm just gonna try and purchase that again. Next one. That was weird. All right. Okay. So yeah, the thing, what I was trying to say is that I think they expect you more to, uh, use mixed setups. So like different weapons. So like if you wanted to use, let's say Punisher and shotguns, then that would work really well too. That would something I would be very excited to use on it. But that's beside the point. I think me personally, I'm not saying that I'm like a one-track mind sort of person, but like when it comes to me, using like a really cool weapon, using one really cool weapon in all slots would be probably preferable, depending on what type of weapons. But on the other hand, it's also really fun to come up with different combos. Like let's say you want to do Punishers and Shredders, or let's say you wanted to do uh, let's say you wanted to do the flamethrowers and the lockdown shotguns. That would be really cool. so you could lock them down, and then they immediately get hit by flamethrowers. That would be really, really cool. But yeah, that would be the most gust firepower you can get in the game today. But now on to the one I was really going to mention last is going to be the usual suspect. Where is he at? Where you at? Where you at? Where is it? See the spiders that go to the grid. There it is. Or there's one. Anyway, the golem. So, back in the day, golem would have been a force to be reckoned with, and then I'm still going to be looking forward to playing on it myself. So something like the golem having, one thunder and then one storm and one gust would be really, 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 really fun and really satisfying. Especially trying to see how it's going to sound with all those different size shotguns going off at one time. Because it basically has the same firepower as a Skyros, just not nearly as capable, being a tier 1 robot after all. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video and my discussion about the little Gust shotguns and whatnot. It's fun talking about them. Definitely gonna look forward to use them in the future, at least a little bit. Hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to, smash that like button in the face like a boss. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Underdog. Oh!